Please finish the point you were making and talk to us about this. Dismas has raised a point, and I want you guys to actually address. We've got a situation on our hands where the Auditor General has said over 370 billion shillings cannot be accounted for. 370 billion is close to what the counties used to get for a year. If I may do some roadside mathematics, it's like an entire year's worth of allocations has just vanished into thin air.
I don't think that's a problem of devolution, and I think we probably need just to situate this correctly. First, devolution has worked, because the spirit of devolution was very simple, that the resources and the functions that were initially centralized are now devolved to 47 counties. And that is a success, that resources are now closer to the people, so people have access to resources. And then number two, functions are closer to the people. People have access to government services at different counties, 47 of them. And then if you look at the spirit of devolution, there are certain things that we should celebrate in devolution, that each and every county has to come up with something called the County Integrated Development Plan. Now, these are things that were not there before the 2010 Constitution and the advent of devolution. And those are successes that we must appreciate, because they exist, resources are devolved every year, functions are closer to the people, and most importantly, the people are involved in what their county governments are doing. We have a county assembly that legislates, represents, and oversights. So the failures that we are seeing are not failures of devolution. Let us call them for what they are. They are failures of the leadership, especially the initial leaderships that we've had since devolution. I've done a number of studies on CIDPs and how their priority is to focus on the key economic activities in different counties. And you can actually see that there is progress, that what most of the counties used to do in the first term of the first generation of governors, second term, probably in the last 15 years. So the first, the second, and where we are right now, you can actually see progress. And I think to that extent, we need to celebrate devolution for what it has done. But secondly, we also need to be very critical of our roles in devolution. You don't expect corruption to disappear in thin air when you elect corrupt leaders. You don't expect MCAs, like Dismas is saying, and I must say that they're very dynamic, agile, and patriotic MCAs who are doing the right thing, but you don't condemn all the MCAs and devolution simply because, as the electorate, we elected a few errant MCAs who want to hold the governors hostage so that they are given tenders. So to a large extent, devolution, for me, has worked. But leadership has failed devolution. We have counties that have received a lot of resources, but you look at the amount that has gone into questionable, deals and into individuals' pockets, they are enormous. And we need not to blame devolution for that. We need to ask ourselves, how do we tighten, the structures within devolution to ensure that if there is any embezzlement, if there is any misuse of power, misuse of public resources, it is addressed. And to me, that is where devolution is failing. The devolution is failing on checks and balances. Devolution is failing on holding leadership accountable. And most importantly, the electorate is failing in helping this country realize the full fruits of devolution.
Now, I like the last point you've made, because we can actually throw it to the room.
Yep.
We have people here whose job is actually checks